Everyone, today I'm going to walk you through what I carry in my pack when I go riding, what I think you should carry, and why. Often when I'm out riding with my mates, I'll get asked, dude, what's in that massive pack of yours, whether it be my instructing pack here or the pack I take on my personal rides with me. So today we're going to dive into that. And this would be especially useful if you're newer to riding and you're perhaps wondering, hey, what should I be carrying out on the bike? Or maybe you've been riding for quite a while and you're sick of getting stuck in situations that you're not prepared for, whether that be a mechanical or a first aid incident. So I'll start by going through what I carry with me on a personal ride. And then after that, we'll talk about what I carry when I'm working professionally as a coach and why. Okay, so this is my Evoque Hip Pack Pro. This is a great little bit of gear to take with you on all of your personal rides. And this, for me, this is the bare minimum that I'm comfortable heading out onto the trails on my mountain bike with. So let's dive into what is actually in here. We'll start with the little hip pockets here. Got a couple of Lara bars. I always like to have some kind of food with me because you never know how long the ride's going to be, even if you're only planning a short one. On the other side here, just got my riding gloves. These two probably seem really obvious. This is an extra water bottle. I always like to carry an extra water bottle with me, not only if I get thirsty, but also in case there's a first aid incident and I need to irrigate any wounds, wash out any gravel from cuts, grazes, that kind of thing. So always good to have extra water on board. Other side here, just got my riding glasses. Same kind of thing, really obvious. It's great to shade your eyes on sunny days or to protect your eyes from mud, branches, etc. Also great if there's a first aid incident and you can save yourself from getting any nasty stuff in there. Cool. Let's dive into what's actually inside the pack. Starting with the front pocket here. I have something that I really do think every mountain biker here in BC especially should be carrying. This is a spot device, very similar to the Garmin InReach. It's a satellite messaging device. So as you may or may not be aware, most of the trails here in Squamish and around BC are very, very bad at having cell reception. That means you're out of cell reception most of the time. So I think it's a no-brainer to carry a satellite messaging device with you in case anything goes wrong. Cool. On top in my pack here, I've got a head torch. To be honest, I haven't used this one much this summer. That's a good thing. But for sure, as we start getting into the fall or maybe winter and spring, use it all the time when the rides are a little bit longer than I expect. Maybe I get excited, end up riding out in the dark. It's also really handy to have for that emergency situation as well. Got a tube in here. This one's a 27-inch tube. Find it's a good size to carry because I can stretch it into a 29-inch wheel if I need to, but I can also help out my buddies on smaller wheels as well. Right on top here, I've got my 1-up pump, obviously really good for pumping up tires. It's also got my multi-tool inside of there. So if you haven't seen this one before, I really like it because it kills a few birds with one stone. I've got a chain link in there for if I snap a chain. It's got a small tire lever here and also a chain breaker. As well as that, it has all of the Allen keys, all of the Torx bits, most common sizes you'll need to repair most mountain bikes. Going along with the rest of my mechanical kit, also always like to carry one of these, a shifter cable, in case anyone breaks a gear cable or a dropper post cable. Really light bit of equipment that can get you out of trouble and save you walking out, which no one likes doing. Rest of my mechanical kit I like to keep in a big Ziploc. This way it's super easy to see, super quick to get out. I'll also use that to put all of the stuff on top when I'm out there in the woods, so I don't lose anything on the ground. So let's go through this. I've got a bunch of bacon strips and an insert tool, which is fantastic for if anyone gets a tubeless puncture. Usually we can fix most holes with just one of those and some air. Obviously, if it's a big gash in the tire, gash in the sidewall, we might need to put in the tube that I pulled out earlier. If we're doing that, we're going to be taking off the tire. You're going to want a set of full-size tire levers like these. Again, really light bit of equipment that's really useful. I've got a bunch of different size chain links here, which is really handy, especially when I'm doing work rides. People aren't always on the newest 12-speed. So I've got an 11-speed link, a 10-speed link, a SRAM link, and a Shimano link in there as well. Also, got a small crescent wrench or small shifter in here. This one's really handy for straightening bent discs as well as getting things undone that you may not have the right size spanner for. Got some tape in here, some good old electrical tape. This one's not only handy for repairing bikes, if you don't have the right tool to repair it, it's also really handy in a first aid incident as well. It can be used to splint a finger, something like that. Okay, also small pair of pointy nose pliers. These have got me out of trouble, probably more than anything else in this kit, so it's definitely worth the wait. You can use it to undo a valve cord, do one back up if it comes undone accidentally. You can use it to break a link in a chain. You can use it to undo bolts. You can use it for all sorts of things. So really handy bit of kit. That's my kind of bare minimum mechanical set. I've also got a bunch of zip ties in the bottom here, which are obviously really handy if you don't have the right tool for the job. Cool, I'm gonna put this stuff away. Next, we're gonna talk about the most exciting thing in my pack, which is my brand new first aid kit. So this is the one I'm most excited about. This is made by Autovox. This is the Roll Dock Pro, and it is essentially a first aid kit. Goes into this cool little roll, fits in your pack really small there, okay? So this one is admittedly stuffed fuller than they come from the factory, because I've put a bunch of other fun stuff in there I think is worth carrying as well. Okay, so let's go through what's in each pocket. Before we do that, I really like it because it tells me exactly what to wear. So I'm not sure if you've ever done first aid before, but if you have, you'll know it's kind of few and far between, especially if you're a good operator. You won't have many first aid incidents. So when you do, sometimes it's a bit like, crap, where do I keep my band-aids? Or where are my scissors? Okay, sweet. So starting with this clear pocket here, I've got some aqua tabs, which are obviously for treating water. If we do have to spend an extended amount of time out in the forest, we have to drink out of a stream, out of a lake, something like that. That's a way of making sure it's safe to drink. Got some alcohol cleansing tabs, really easy to get to, and a bunch of different sized band-aids. Sweet, so unzipping this here. First pocket here, I've got some waterproof matches. Again, great if you need to keep someone warm, if you're for some reason spending an unexpected amount of time out in the backcountry. I've got some glucose gel. This is great if we've got a diabetic on board that's needing some sugars, or even if you're trapped out in the backcountry for a long time and you're feeling a bit low on sugars yourself. Got a whole bunch of medical gloves, front there, super easy to get to, and a lighter as well. In the next pocket here, this is called a soap notebook. I got this from Matt at Canadian Outdoor Med. This is a great way of keeping track of any patients you've got during a first aid incident and making sure you're doing all the right checks. Again, as I was saying before, I don't do first aid too often. Often it's in the classroom when I go back to do a refresher each year, because I do my best to manage the risk so that there's no first aid incidents. So having something like this gives me confidence that I'm not going to miss anything important shall I be involved in a first aid incident. So in this pocket, I've got 2 emergency blankets as well. You could carry just one kind of bivvy burrito style emergency blanket. I like to carry 2 regular ones just in case one happens to get a puncture or something like this. These are obviously to keep someone warm. I know we're not going terribly deep into the backcountry, but it can get awfully cold, especially kind of in those spring, fall, winter months when we've got lots of rain coming down. If you've hurt yourself and you're laying down in the wet forest, you're going to get cold real quick. Very important to have. Also, got some medication in here as well. I'll use this more so for myself, my friends on a personal ride rather than in a professional context. But yeah, I've got some Tylenol there as an anti-inflammatory. Got some Advil to be used for reducing pain, and some Benadryl in case anyone has an allergic reaction there. So next pocket there is the wound care pocket. In here we have some sterile gauze dressings in their package. We have a bunch of different size gauze pads, sterile pads, and non-stick gauze in here. As well as that, there is a bigger roll of gauze, again sterile, and some medical tape as well. Really useful stuff. This one is good to have by itself, super easy access, because obviously if we get a bad bleed, something we need to stop instantly, we're going to whack a gauze pad on, then really quickly apply pressure by wrapping a roll of gauze around as well. In this next pocket here, this is where I keep a whole bunch more different size band-aids, as well as alcohol wipes and cleaning wipes for dealing with wounds. Got a little bit more medical tape there, shall I ever need it. Also have a syringe for irrigating wounds, which is where the clean water you carry comes in handy. I've also got within here another pair of gloves, some scissors, and some tweezers, as well. You'll see all of this stuff is still in its plastic packaging. I think that's really important. because it shows me and it shows my clients that this stuff is all sanitary. And in the last pocket here, this is where we keep our sling. Got a triangular bandage, which is great for helping someone with a broken wrist, broken arm, collarbone, anything like this. We're going to sling that up. Also got a CPR pocket mask in here as well. This is a great, small, easy to carry thing, which saves you having to ask that tough decision in a situation where you need to give someone CPR, but you're not comfortable putting your mouth on this. Always good to carry one of these. And this here is a second triangular bandage, which can be really useful to help hold the other one in place. Or perhaps we've got some crazy situation where we need two in one day. We have some steri strips here, which can be used in lieu of stitches if you are going to be out in the backcountry for an extended amount of time. This is not really something I use in a mountain biking situation, more for some of my other backcountry adventures where I'm out there for multiple days. Cool, so that's what's in my first aid. That's what I recommend you carry as well as the knowledge, the training to actually use that. Okay, so when I'm out there on the trails working in a professional context, I carry this beast of a backpack. Let's break that down. I'm going to show you what's inside there and why. Sweet. Starting with this top pocket here, have my cones. Everyone loves cone drills. Sweet. Zip ties. We all know how important those are. Carry some sunscreen, carry some hydration powder. I've got a lighter inside a Ziploc bag and also a couple of yoki straps, little bits of string. Never know when that will come in handy. This is a good one. Love to have a full-size chain breaker whenever I'm working professionally. Makes things so much faster, so much easier. This is a good little hack picked up from someone at Endless Biking, but it is essentially just a bent spoke, if you can see that. What I'll use that for is if I'm having to rejoin a chain, you can use this by placing it in between two links, take the pressure off the derailleur and do your work without getting as much grease and as much frustration going on there. Okay, got some hand warmers there for inclement weather if we get stuck out in the forest for a long time. And this one, this is a whole bunch of bar ends. If I see any clients, any riders coming along with holes in the end of their bars, that's dangerous as hell, okay? We'll stuff one of those right in there. In the front little pocket here, I've got another shifter cable. We talked about why those are important before. In the top pocket here, I have, again, my riding glasses, which are great for riding, also great for keeping yourself safe in a first aid incident. Got a whole bunch of gloves right at the top here, and a whole bunch of band-aids and alcohol wipes as well, for quickly dealing with just like your common graze, cut, scrape, etc. Got my satellite messaging device on the outside here. Again, quick, easy access, because most of the trails in Squamish don't have cell reception. Let's dive into the fun stuff here. Okay, on the inside, up the top here, I've got a couple of extra first aid supplies that I carry when I'm working professionally. First one I'm really hyped on is what's called an Israeli bandage or a pressure bandage. What this is basically a gauze patch and a roller gauze in one. You can really crank down on and get pressure if anyone has uncontrolled bleeding wound. Good one to have in the top of your pack. In this one, I've got a full-size CPR mask as well. This is a great one to have. It makes doing CPR that much easier, that much more effective. I've got some hand sanitizer, a notebook, more roller gauze, face masks, and really importantly, I've got my emergency management plan as well as some notes from my first aid courses to keep me on track, again, in a first aid situation. Adding to that, I've got my head torch, got my basic first aid kit that we went through before, got my spare tube, got my mechanical toolkit. In this one, also like to carry a shock pump as well, which is used for setting up my own and client suspension, tire pump, both Presta and Schrader valves, and I've got this one. Probably the cheapest tool and probably the most effective in my opinion. This, anyone that has worked with me will know, is what we call the mental skills journal. Great tool for making sure that we follow a model of incremental progression and making sure that we can refocus when there's some pressure applied to our riding. Perhaps we're scared, frustrated, angry, maybe we're racing, maybe we're riding in a big group ride, we're feeling intimidated for whatever reason. This is a great tool. If you'd like to learn more about this one, check out my other YouTube videos or shoot me a message. Okay, in the final pocket here at the back, This is where I keep my hydration pack. Again, extra water. I'm a thirsty guy, I like to drink lots. And it's also great to be able to help another rider out if they're needing more water for whatever reason. I've also got a SAM splint in here for dealing with broken bones. And in the first aid world, what is called zap straps, which are basically elastic straps that help strap on a splint to someone's arms. In this pocket, I've also got some more zip ties and usually some more snacks as well. Cool. Hope this video has been informative and you've now got a better idea of what you should ideally carry with you when you're out there riding. If there is anything that you think that I'm missing or anything maybe that I could do without in either of my packs, love to hear it. Let me know down below in the comments. As always, if you like this video, feel free to give it a like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you out on the trails. Cheers, guys.